Hey folks, back again for another episode. I'm joined here with Avril, the videographer, and I will allow her to introduce herself. So Avril, please
My
introduce.
name is the Rugby Girl, or Avril Kinsella, and I mostly cover the rugby as a videographer, both international and provincial level. Um, as rugby is one of the biggest passions of my life. It's given me so much, um, and it's given me really a space to express myself, especially on the channel and now on Instagram and TikTok and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just love covering it.
Yeah, cool, 100%. And you know, it's actually where I found you on Instagram, and I must say I've been looking through those videos, and you have a knack for it. And I've been looking at your interviews as well that you've had with a pitch side with a lot of the folks there, and it's great. And you obviously have a very good passion because you're at nearly every game. So even as a fan or a videographer there. But I suppose, like, how did you actually get into videography? Was it was it just because it was rugby? Was there a specific focus there? What was the passion that came out of the videography part?
My original background, so I have degrees in contemporary culture and society and drama, which are two nothing to do with videography or videos. And then I got a chance to become to do some local media, and within that, everything was like self-taught. So I got to do editing, directing, producing, filming, sound. So it was really kind of had to jump headfirst into it and taught myself a lot. Got a lot of one-on-one help as well from some videographers that I was working alongside. So I did that for a little while, and then the pandemic came,
Oh yeah.
and I went back and I did a diploma in journalism. I was really good. It was online. It really kept me sane. It was a really good bunch of people, really good tutors. And then actually Nicola Talent came in from the Sunday World, or Crime World is its own name, and she gave a talk, but she sent on this link to kind of an internship, new talent program for Media House or the Irish Independent and those sister brands. And I applied for that, and I got a 2-year placement with them and as a videographer. Um, so I've always loved like making videos. I was always the kid in school with a camera. I
Yeah.
was always in the friend group, the one that was always doing videos and editing videos on like Microsoft Movie Maker. But this gave me a chance to work professionally doing it, and I learned so much. But I was the kind of resident sports nerd on the team, so whenever there was a sports thing, they'd all kind of look at me and, do you want to take that on? As particularly rugby, and maybe I did bug them a bit to try and cover the rugby a bit more. And then I kind of became the kind of the rugby girl on the team, and yeah, that's spiraled from there. I've kind of started my own channel as a hobby, and I'm trying to turn it into a full-time job. Because I just love it. It's such a great space to work in and to cover. But that's the kind of journey of how I got from contemporary culture and drama to that.
Yeah, Jesus, it's an interesting one actually. It's funny. People say the big C word now, the COVID time, and you kind of forget that even happened. But I suppose you're one of the very few people that had probably benefited in the sense that you probably wouldn't have went back and done that if you were just, head first going ahead, and you went back into that journalism one. And that it's actually a very cool way to come about. And I suppose being the sporty one of the videographers there came to your benefit then further on because it tied into your passion. So it's actually, that's incredible. And it's really funny that you even say Crime World there, because I was only reading an article on the old Crime World, the articles that you used to have, and I used to be so interested in them, and you used to always wonder, like, how do they get into these these videos into all these gangland places, and was it some sort of espionage thing? But I suppose it was probably less of that and more of just a very long lens looking at someone from a camera.
Yeah, luckily I wouldn't want to
Okay.
be involved in any of that, to be honest. At least if you're maybe kind of safer being by a rugby pitch, but maybe not with the ball
Yeah,
from
well,
flying
like,
at you.
yeah, hopefully someone doesn't come crashing over into you. Then I suppose that would be the only way you'd actually get into a bit of harm. Yeah, and I suppose it was going in focus into rugby there, and obviously this is the rugby podcast. Can you remember your first rugby gig then, when you actually were set out in the morning? You're going to do videography for this rugby gig. Do you remember what it was?
I can't remember exactly, but I think it might have been the captain's run for the England game in 2023 for Six Nations.
Oh, nice.
I think it was that, or it was around that time I started doing the rugby stuff, and I remember being so nervous. I was doing it for the Irish Independent back then, and I'd been there before, so I got to do this thing with the Aviva. They ran a competition. This was like when I was doing contemporary and culture and society in DCU, and they ran a competition to be a reporter for the day, and I
Nice.
did my essay. Rob Kearney picked it out, and I got to go and be a reporter. So I kind of knew a bit of the layout. I'd been in a press conference, and I'd been up in the media tribune and stuff like that. But the first time it was very daunting because you're walking in. There's loads of media people that I didn't know at that time, and they're trying to know where to go and where to get my badge and where to set up and even like camera, where to go, when to go. But I got really great help. I have to say that's the one great thing I will say about the rugby. Like everyone is so helpful. It's a really good bunch of journalists. Like there's no kind of, they're very generous with their time and their information and their knowledge. And particularly like with the Irish independent journalists like Sinead, Keane and Rory, they like really helped me tell me when to go in, bring the camera in, do that kind of stuff. And also on that first, I think it was that first time I didn't know where to go. I was kind of being sent here, there and everywhere by stewards, but I got to go out the main tunnel. You're not usually meant to. I think people were getting given out to for letting me stay. But it was like a pinch me moment walking out as the main tunnel of the Aviva, and it was brilliant. And just trying to find, looking in the crowd, or because you're quite far away, they're at the other side of the stadium usually when they come out and do the captain's run, and just trying to pick out players and hope the camera is recording because you're just so nervous. But yeah, it was really great, and yeah, really enjoyed it. And it's just like every time it's as special as it was then, every time it's special. Like I do, whenever I go to something like that, I feel really privileged and I really enjoy it and try and make the most of it because it's such an experience or special experience. Even if it's I think it was like the 20th time for me just this year or just this season. I just love going and being able to do that and being able to get that access and being able to bring that coverage to people as well has been really fun.
Yeah, geez, 100%. You can hear it in your voice that it definitely is a passion. So it's nice to see that someone isn't just doing it for the money. Do you know, like anyway, it's not. It is part of who you are. Really, is rugby. So, and you know, you said there about being nervous for your first run in with the videographer, and a huge game, mind you. I think in 2023, I'm nearly sure England lost to Ireland in the Aviva that time. So
yeah,
huge one to remember as well. Fair play. But I suppose you would have had that moment where obviously you're very invested in rugby. It's one of your passions. You probably had to battle with seeing a lot of the players who you don't want to be starstruck right in front of you, taking videos of them. So it probably was a part of that as well, with the nerves coming in. It's like these are kind of your heroes in a little sense in terms of who's playing. So that's fantastic. Wow, what a story though.
Yeah, like when you see them coming out of the tunnel, like you have to be really professional, but on the inside I'm like, oh my god, there's like Josh and all these people. But yeah, they're so nice now. I have to say, they're so down to earth, and I think there is a really good relationship with fans and the media, and like I think we're really lucky with rugby that especially young kids as well, they can have that one-on-one experience with their heroes, you know.
Yeah, no, that's 100%. And I've said that in the last interview I had with, rugby is just from the grassroots up. It's just fantastic. The respect that people have for the community. You go to a game, you can be chatting to literally anyone at a game. It could be someone who is your worst enemy, and on the side of a pitch watching rugby, everyone's just friends, and we're all sound. And it is part of why I even started the podcast. It is such a lovely community, and you can just talk to anyone. So I definitely second that. And for the kids as well, even any match day, you can see it, that they actually do take the time, the players, to go around that pitch 2 or 3 times, signing anything they can, taking pictures. So it is nice. It's nice to see the players are very humble, even up to very top levels there. Yeah, I suppose, funny you said, going back to there about, obviously the crime world there was something a bit more dangerous, but you said, on the side of the pitch, you probably are a little bit safer. But is there a knack then to pitch side positioning? Like, do you have to put yourself in places where you're not going to get flattened, I suppose, in case there's players coming across, with a tackle or down by the corner where they might slide over?
I haven't been able to like actually be pitch side for the actual match. It's
Okay.
usually training, warm ups, that kind of stuff. But you do still get you get balls coming off the one. I remember this year we did, like, for the Six Nations, Ireland likes to do their press conference inside, but some of the other teams like to do them outside pitch side, and Wales decided to do theirs pitch side in storm conditions, rain coming down. Fair play to them. And Derry Lake was there, and we were getting ready to interview him, and we have the mics out, and we're trying not to get soaked, trying not to get the camera get soaked. And next thing, we also have to contend with balls raining down on us. We were trying to, I think, wind us up. So that was like the only time that I've ever felt a bit, oh God, the camera's going to get wrecked. I'm going to get smashed.
Yeah, Jesus, yeah. No,
Usually you're kind of okay, but you do have to learn how to move really quickly, because if they come out, you only have 15 minutes to get certain players, like if say like Sam Prendergast to start, you want to get a shot at him and that kind of thing. So you do have to move fast. You're contending with the rain, you're contending with other people as well. You have to make sure you're not getting other people's eye lines. And yeah, it's really like the time goes, even though it's 15 minutes, it feels like 2 minutes trying to get all the different shots and trying to get as much, and just keep the camera rolling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, nice. It's something I definitely had like zero context into, so I'm even more delighted, Avril, that you're on today, because I get that extra context that I wouldn't have ever known. I just assumed that everyone would have all had them, set in stone. There's the shots are nearly planned, but I suppose in that, is there a brief then before? Like, do the teams and coaches come to you with a clear brief, or is that you just kind of shaping the story yourself? Like you said, having to take that video, a couple of seconds there of Sam Prendergast because he's in the starting 15, or a shot of maybe Porter because he's just on the training bags and he's not actually starting. And is that shaped by yourself then, or is there kind of a brief going into these?
No, like the only thing you'll get maybe is an injury update, and you might be watching to see is a particular player taking part, or you might get a list of who's going to be up for media, and you might want to get a few shots that you'll have cutaways, or like if I want to do maybe some talking points of video, I want to have a cutaway talking about Sam Prendergast or Jack Crowley or whatever particular player you want. So there's not really ads. You don't really get told that you can't ask certain things, which is nice. It's just kind of a feel. And then sometimes with the cameras on, maybe journalists might want to push things, but you'll have like a little huddle afterwards, which will be just for like print and stuff. I usually try and engage with them because sometimes you pick some stuff up and get info and stuff. But no, it's very much kind of find your own angle, maybe looking who is out, maybe looking at photographs beforehand, see maybe who hasn't trained, if they're training. And then I have a few things coming up that are more kind of led by what I want to do, and other people approach me with certain things that they want to do, but mainly from the provinces and like the RFU, it's come along, this person's going to be here, this is the injury list, and that kind of way. It's never, you have to cover this or that kind of thing.
Yeah, nice. I suppose it's kind of independent journalism nearly in that sense, because you get a chance to do that. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, well, fair play. I mean, it takes a lot of effort to come up and do these things, and it is really all for the fans at the end of the day. Like, people want to see this content, and it's everywhere now. Like with the boom of social media that we're in now, it's like everything is online. Everything has been shown off. It could be a 5-second clip that makes absolutely no sense, and people are watching it because they just want content. And I suppose that kind of brings on a question there is like, have you seen a change in how video content is surfacing? How do fans engage with it? Is there a deeper demand for it, or is there no change? Is it just the same for you now as it has been for the last few years doing it? Do you see a change in that kind of maybe in terms of social media?
I think definitely there's a kind of turn towards video first, especially from traditional media.
Mhm.
They're going down the route that they want a video with every article. Then from a social media perspective, looking at the women's game, I find that does a lot better on TikTok.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of the players that engage really well on TikTok, like with the whole release the fleece thing. That was really good. If you want to, that'd be great to do anyone doing marketing, that impact and that connection. And I think they can build up a real big connection. And also a lot of the age group and maybe gender demographics that will be into women's sport, a lot more of them use TikTok, and a lot more of them will be younger kind of teens to maybe mid-30s. I actually got influenced by that tick or the release the fleece, and I bought one. I love it. But I think, yeah, like it worked on me, even though I know all about like marketing and stuff. But yeah, I think definitely the women's game, Instagram and TikTok, and then the men's game, I think you skews more YouTube, but definitely you will like there's a lot of hunger for it on TikTok. I actually only started my TikTok this year because I tried to stay away from TikTok. I don't scroll, I just post things and I look at the odd rugby thing. And then Instagram as well. That's somewhere I didn't think it'd work, but it seems to be working, and I find it's a good place to communicate, particularly with other journalists, and pick up maybe different types of fans as well, maybe more casual fans as well, or people that are into just sport in general. But definitely TikTok, the women's game, just absolutely flies compared to YouTube.
Yeah, 100%. And I suppose it is that short form content that really does shine through, and TikTok is literally just that. You know, I know they started branching out a little bit with the long form stuff and live things, and obviously that's booming over in the US. But I'm in the same boat as you, Avril. I'm not on TikTok, and I have tried my hardest to stay away from it. To be like, no, I don't want to be on that, because I'll just either scroll nonstop on it, or it'll just become some sort of distraction. But when I was actually doing a few gaming videos before and I put them onto TikTok, they done way better than they did on YouTube or on Instagram. And it was just because that very quick short form, people's reactions are so quick on it. So I can definitely agree with you there. It is a boom one. And I've seen that they've ported over things to the women's rugby account on Instagram, but it has those little TikTok, you know, watermarks that go all over it. So it is definitely improving, I suppose, a recognition for the women's game as well. And it was a fantastic game there over in Cork. I don't know if you were at it, but I wasn't at it myself. Now we've a little lad here, so those kind of trips don't happen anymore for a while. But yeah, the content there, the short form content has just boomed. It's all over my feed, but it's nice in a way. You probably would rather it be a little bit more like what you're doing with the interviews, and I actually cherish those so much. You know, he had one there with Baving Parsons as well that you're recording. It was the fantastic one. She's such a role model for young women there. But I suppose going on to that interviewee part, and the part I really like, you know, who was your favorite interviewee so far behind the lens?
I actually have a list. I'll just scroll down.
Oh, nice.
My favorite person that I love coming out, and you will see him before he comes out, is Jack Conan. He's
Nice.
just so funny. He's often, you'll see him like his glass in UV, and he'll be there making faces at people, trying to make people laugh. He's just someone that you'll have like a bit of crack. Another one this year, I went to the launch of the Six Nations and getting to speak to Anton Dupont was
Oh,
on the
wow.
list.
Jeez.
Yeah, I have to say, like, his English is brilliant. Like, I
Yeah.
speak French, so I was able to kind of do both. But like for someone that is not from an English speaking kind of background, great English, and seems like a really genuine, lovely guy. One recently I really found interesting was John Dobson, the Stormers.
Oh, yeah.
Stormers. After the Leinster semi-final, he was just really frank. He was really honest, really funny. Really enjoyed that. Someone that kind of surprised me. Also love James Lowe. I'm gutted he's leaving. Whenever
don't remind me.
I'm just I hope someday he comes back, or he's called back up to Ireland, because whenever he's down on the list. He's like Jack Conan, you know, you're gonna have a bit of you're gonna leave the interview with a smile on your face. He's just such a kind of bundle of calm and a bundle of joy. Another one was Robin O'Connor after the Scotland game in the Aviva. I could
Yes.
barely hear her, and she's tiny as well. Like I'm 5'5", 5'4", and she's smaller than me. I was like, how is she making these tackles? And she talked about doing her exams the week after. So that was amazing. And being pitch side and all the atmosphere, like it was so loud, and all the music and the crowd, like it was just a brilliant experience, and get to see her like enjoying the moment. And also like Aoife Wafer as well. She was really good. And Brittany Hogan as well. Really enjoyed speaking to her during the Women's Six Nations as well.
Jesus, you're actually making me very jealous here. That's a as a
oh
very,
no, it's an absolute honor to get to like see these people and talk to them and hear what they have to say, and it's brilliant. Like I savor, I love it. I try to learn as well from them, like apply it to life in general as well. Some of the things that how they succeed and how they perform to the highest level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you mentioned Dobson. I think the Safas, they're so good at interviews. I think it's just because they're so down to earth that they don't mind saying things that are a little bit off the cuff, because they'll just say it as it is, and there's no point denying it because things happen. I remember seeing a couple of it. I might have even just seen your one, but there was a couple of ones where he was just like, "Yeah, we played terrible and we didn't deserve winning." What else am I supposed to say? Right, Grant, and then off we went. But that sometimes is what you need. It is a bit of, stark honesty, a bit of, admitting to yourself, admitting to your team, yeah, we just didn't cut it and we need to do more and we'll be back next year. And I think the South Africans have a very good touch of being able to talk like that. And it's something maybe that the Northern Hemisphere just probably shy away from, because we don't really want to admit that, okay, yeah, we did play absolutely abysmal,
yeah.
which is interesting. Yeah, but that's a fantastic list of people are having. Jesus.
And there's a lovely thing with the South Africans. Like I remember going to go out to see South Africa last November. They were training in the UCD Bowl, and Razzie came down and shook all of our hands. And
Jesus.
I was like, but obviously you have to be professional. But like there is a thing with that, and I think the guy, I can't remember, it's Leinster. It used to be with Munster, I think, one of the South African coaches. Sorry, the name just escaped me. And again, he went around everyone shaking hands. So it seems to be a big thing that they like that kind of interaction, like having that personal one-on-one time, that kind of, getting to know you. But I just thought that was really nice, and it kind of really impressed me from Razzie, because you kind of see him, and he's kind of this pantomime villain, but actually he's very personable and very funny and very, quite down to earth when it comes to it. Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus, that's amazing. Yeah, I don't even know how I'd react if Razzie Erasmus came to shake my hand.
I don't know what I even said. I think it was like lovely to meet you or something like that. I can't remember what I said.
No, I actually, just on that point, the only time I really had a run in with people who were famous at the time around rugby was about 4 years ago. But I was actually, no, maybe it was more than that actually. But I was walking towards the bus in Dublin, and I was in front of the Sheraton Hotel, and of course I didn't realize the Irish team had just finished being in there with, normally go in there and then they get, and it was the day after the match. But Joe Schmidt walked out of the door and turned left. And I obviously was walking that way, heading my phone, nearly walked into a guy, looked up, and it was Joe Schmidt. And I just went, like I actually I couldn't physically say it. And he was like, "You all right, mate?" Oh, no, geez, that was an English accent. You're going to kill me for saying that. But, in his perfect Australian accent, he said, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then just like sidestepping and ran away, because I was like, "Oh no, I just absolutely butchered that." But even in that moment, I was like, "Geez, he's actually fierce sound." He could have done that. He could have punched me in the face, and I was like, "Yeah, that's fierce sound." But it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez, yeah. Oh, man, I'm so jealous. Wow, turning green here with envy at the moment. That's I'm gonna have to get another camera.
So I like savor it, and I'm excited to see these people as much as everyone else and the fans, and like it's just a dream to kind of get to see them and get to listen to them and get to beat them and see what they have to say.
Yeah, geez, well, I'm delighted for you, Avril. I'm delighted, because you can hear it in your voice that it's a huge passion for you. and I'm delighted. You probably get a lot of job satisfaction out of this. Really, is it? Like people probably say, you know, I know the phrase, if you love your job, you don't work a day in your life. Probably would be somewhere where you're getting to at this point, or if you're not there already, if that's the case, is it?
Definitely, because like I I probably say this like so much on Instagram and like in my videos. I have autism, so like the traditional 9 to 5 being in an office is very hard for me. But this is something that I can do, that I have knowledge of. Like I remember I used to get slagged in the Independent for being able to tell the different rugby players, even from up like high, their different runs, because I just watched so much rugby. And like it's been such a great space for me. Like I before I did all this, I used to go to matches and I go on my own like nearly every week and stuff, because a lot of my family worked or weren't into rugby, and you just found this community. And I always felt really comfortable. I always got talking to people. I always felt really, at times in the world when you have autism, you feel like you're out of place, but I always felt I was in the right place when I was at the rugby or watching rugby or covering rugby or being a fan and getting to meet the players and all that kind of stuff. And for this, it gives me an opportunity to do something I absolutely love, and in a way that suits my brain and suits my kind of life. And yeah, I love it, and I savor every single time I get to do it. Like I don't take it for granted at all.
Yeah, no, it definitely shows, and I commend you for that, and your bravery coming out, you know, in making awareness for that is huge. So fair play, and I'm delighted for it. It's so nice listening to someone who can talk about their passion and be involved in it at that level. So, geez, yeah, there isn't really much else to say in that. I'm just delighted for you. I suppose we have to talk about the questions rather than talk about these famous people that we're actually delighted about. But I suppose in the same vein there, like, is there anyone that you haven't interviewed yet that you would really love to get behind the camera?
Well, I've been to one of their interviews, or yeah, but I've never actually got to ask them a question. That would be Johnny Sexton.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I grew up watching him, got to meet him a good few times. I just think he's just the most incredible rugby brain. I just absolutely loved him as a player. Like I would go every time and I'd be like, want to see Johnny Sexton, want to watch Johnny Sexton. And I just think what he did for Ireland is incredible. So I'd love to like maybe get to ask him a question. I'd love to have like a casual chat with Andy Farrell, maybe not on a video or an interview, but I'm a big City fan, and I'm always over in Manchester, and I have that connection. Like half my family are from Manchester, so I have that connection. So I'd love to talk to him about City and Oasis as well. I know he's a big Oasis fan, and the Verve and all that kind of stuff. I'd also like to talk to Stuart Lancaster. I just find him really interesting. I remember when he first, he's just, I did get to ask him one question once. I was actually about Johnny Sexton, whether he was going to play. And I got to ask him, oh yeah, it's about Christmas, how they kind of keep their momentum through Christmas and with those Christmas get into programs. But I remember he did an interview with News Talk when he joined Leinster, and I was in the kitchen. And I remember sitting in the kitchen for about an hour listening to him because I found him so interesting. And I love what he's done with Connacht. I think they're really ones to watch. And I kind of, as much as I'm going to miss Kieran Frawley and Will Connors, I think they've made a great decision, and I'll be following their career and following, like, as much as I am a Leinster fan and I love Leinster, I love seeing the four provinces do well, because at the end of it all, I'm an Ireland fan.
Yeah.
And especially when you get to see these guys in Ireland camp, like you just want them to do well. Like I've no, as much as I want Leinster to beat Munster, I would support Munster. Like I went to the Toulouse game a few years ago in the Aviva and supported Munster, and you know, I'd support Ulster and everything, and Connacht. But yeah, I'd love to listen to him talk about anything. Or one is the thing you used to have the Tuesday where it was like chaos. I'd love to like put me through that. I'd love to see what it's like. And then
he's a great player. He's a great coach though. Like you can see that Frawley's gone over there for a reason. He's following exactly, like he was there when Lancaster would have been around for Leinster as well. He knows his style, he knows his play, he knows he's going to be cherished over there, and they're looking for a 10. So why wouldn't you take the dive and go over there for Frawley. So and as you said, Avril, 100%. And sorry, I know I cut you off there. I'll let you back in a little bit. But 100%, whenever I'm watching any of the club rugby, as long as Leinster isn't playing one of the provinces, I'm supporting them. And I'm actually I'm disappointed if they lose. I'm annoyed if they do something silly. And the only thing I want to see at the end of the season is them within the one or in the top 8 in any of them. That's where you want to see them, because you are an Irish fan at the end of the day, and you have to. If any club does well, any province does well, it's just going to add into the squad in the international level. So, yes, 100%. Sorry, go on there. I cut you off right after talking about Stuart Lancaster there.
Oh no, sorry. Just to think about you, I was actually in Manchester last September, and next thing I came back to my hotel. I was at a comedy festival, and I walked in. Next thing they had Connacht's Welcome Connacht Rugby. I came down the next day, and I was walking to the gym, and I could hear Stuart Lancaster.
Oh my God!
Yeah, all the Connacht team were in the same hotel. Got to see, I think it was Jack Ainger and a few of them in the lift. And I was like, best of luck, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was tempted to go in and see, could I get a chat with Stuart Lancaster, but I left him to doing all the pre-match stuff. And then the final person will be James Lowe, maybe. I'd love to know, like,
after what happened.
Yeah. I'm just gutted. I'm just like, I was at the final, the URC final. It kind of didn't set in. I was like, he's not going to go. No.
Yeah.
Even though he said he's gone, he's not going to go. But yeah, I'm just gutted. Hopefully he'll come back, or I don't know, maybe it might be on a year and he'll come back. He's still,
I know,
young enough. He's younger than me anyway.
Well, this is it. I even said, like, in one of the episodes, because I did a whole segment on Lowe leaving, and I think it was probably our biggest mistake, even at an international level, and never mind Leinster, but he's such a dynamic player. I was saying they could have had him in at outside centre there, and he could have done a fantastic game, because maybe he doesn't have the pace now that the likes of Tommy O'Brien does have, or any of the lads in Connacht who just come up who are rapid, but he has the power and he has the flair and he has the ability to do fantastic rugby.
That left boot as well.
The left boot, geez, like every game you see him, if he lines up a kick, the chance that your 50-22 is after increasing tenfold. So yeah, I'm just as good as you are, Avril, for that. It was such a pain point.
And he's just such a lovely guy. Like, I remember back in November, he was talking about how much it meant for him to play for Ireland, and how emotional you could see that he was. And like, you can see his kids as well, like they're mad into Ireland, and like it is their home. And I just hope that he comes back, or even if he gets to play, because that World Cup is coming up, and I'm just thinking, it's a bit silly not having him.
So silly. Yeah,
around, especially with Farrell signing on as well. Like, I'm surprised that he didn't. Maybe he didn't have any say. I don't know what the story was. Maybe James Lowe was like, listen, it's a challenge, it's something different. I know he probably didn't want to leave, but I don't know. I just, hopefully, I'm an eternal optimist. I hope it works out, and I hope he gets that fairy tale ending that maybe I think he deserves. Like, he's given so much to Ireland, and I think a lot of those players are written off, like Bundy and all these kind of project players, but like, if you see Bundy, Jemison, Gibson Park, like, they're just how much they give for that jersey and give for the fans, and how loved by the fans they are. And just, I just hope he gets his maybe fairy tale and then touch wood.
Yeah, touch wood is right. I would 100% back that. And, it would have been nice to see James Lowe retire in the same way that Church would have retired in the Leinster, and they would have said at the time, I remember people talking about Church saying he should have finished 4 or 5 years before he did. And he still went onto the pitch every day and just smashed it. And then he always seemed to turn the tide on what people were saying about him when he went out on the pitch. And that's exactly what's happening. You see it from Tadhg Furlong as well. People are saying, maybe his time is over. And then he goes out and he does this monster match. And you say, well, look, there you go. Because it's passion and it's pride of place. And, you gather that from inside you. And Bundy Aki is a great example there as well. Honestly, even myself last year, I was thinking, how did he make that Ireland team? And then he comes out in the Six Nations and he just, where does he get it? Where does he actually get the power and the strength to come game after game and show up? Maybe he's coming in later into the game, maybe, 65th minute or 55th minute, but hugely impactful player off the bench. So definitely is an argument for Lowe to come back for his last few years. It'd be my my blessing would be fantastic for that. But yeah, I look, it is what it is, Avril. I suppose we can't be crying over very good milk that we spilled, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know it's good. You know, it's great to talk to someone with such passion. So we're very aligned in all these things, which is great. I suppose, and I keep forgetting we're in an interview here. Jeez, I need to ask these questions. It's just a lovely interview, actually. In fairness, Avril, thanks so much. I only actually have really two more, and I want to give you some time as well, coming nearly to the close of this, to give a shout out to your socials. As you say, you're trying to build them up, and you're doing fantastic work there, so you definitely deserve it. But I suppose I do have to ask, what has been your proudest project so far? What do you look back on and say, you know what, that was probably the best thing I've ever done?
Not necessarily like from a personal perspective of like, oh, this is my thing, but I think one thing that I really enjoyed and got a lot out of and was delighted to do was the Women's Six Nations this year.
Nice. Yeah.
So I never really got a chance to do a lot of that with the independent, just resource wise. Like there was someone else was kind of doing all the video stuff for the women's side of things. But I think I did nearly every media fixture, and it was quite a learning curve as well, because I would have kind of came mostly from the men's game.
Yeah.
And again, having not been able to cover it from a professional perspective, I was kind of like had to jump head first straight in and like learn the different people and all that, personnel and all that kind of stuff. But it was just such a great experience. They're such a great bunch. It was just it was great turning up to these media days, and not to be negative towards the men, but the men have a totally different pathway to rugby. Like they're usually coming from school, which is either like Leinster or Munster or whatever academies. They go into like the academy and then into Leinster, where a lot of the women come from maybe a different perspective. A lot of them have careers, or they've gone to university and done different things, and they've come to rugby maybe to professionalism from a different route. So you do tend to get maybe a bit more relaxed because they haven't had all that media training, or they're a bit more open to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a bit more, like, I have to commend them on how they've embraced social media and they've created that connection with fans. So that was something I really loved. And the culmination, I have to say, I didn't get to go to some of the games around the country because I haven't driven far. I only got my license not that long ago, so I haven't been able to drive long distances. Hopefully next year.
Yeah.
But I got to go to that Aviva game, and the atmosphere was incredible. Like, I love going out and getting the bus coming in for every game, whether it's a Leinster game or and the people were 7 rows deep.
Yeah.
100%. Watching the bus come in. And kids, adults, parents, men, women, old people, young people, it was just incredible. And it was raining, it was the people, it was 7 rows deep. And the atmosphere, I've never seen it that great for a match in TV, but I thought it was one of the best. It was up with playing New Zealand or South Africa. I just really enjoyed it. And also just doing this last season with Leinster, going to every single home game. Hopefully I'm trying to get to go to some away games again. It's just
nice.
But having autism, and it's hard to travel. I'm kind of afraid to book, and I'm like, oh, what if I get sick, or what if this happens, or what? It's just to take the plunge. And also money wise, it can be expensive to travel and all these things. But I got to do every single Leinster game and I loved it. I'm so lucky. I love the Aviva. I know we'll be moving back to the Leia. I got a sneak peek of that at the first show. But yeah, it was just incredible. I loved it going every single week and being able to do it. And yeah, I just loved it. It was the best few months being able to do it. And yeah, I just love it. I love it. I would be there anyway watching Leinster play every week, but getting to cover it and also interacting with people on YouTube and like seeing so many people react positively, also making so many contacts, making so many friends, and learning so much as well. So it's just been an incredible season, and yeah, I'd say the women's Six Nations and just covering this season in general has been like my highlight so far.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and more to you. I hope you get a lot more of those chances, and that was once in a lifetime, nearly, I'd say, to experience that for the first time in the Aviva for the Six Nations, which is huge. But I definitely second what you're saying there with the atmosphere, because even the games in Donnybrook there, and obviously there's one coming up now against Connacht with the women's. It's a different atmosphere. It feels different than the men's game. It's a lot more passionate or something. I don't even know how to describe it, but there is definitely a difference there. And the crowd is so loud, which sometimes you find, I have complained about it in some episodes before, where the men's crowd seem to be a lot more reserved, and there isn't many people who might get up and shout and roar and do a couple of songs. But the women's game is the place to be for that, it seems. It's just, there's loads of kids there. They're all excited. It's pitch side. All the women are so fantastic as well to come around and sign jerseys and everything. So, yeah, definitely would second you on that. It's a huge thing and a huge time for them. And I'm delighted that they got that. And I suppose, sorry to not waffle again, but you made a great point there about how it is different for them coming up. Because if you look at Erin King there, who just made her first Leinster cap, even though she has almost 60 caps for Ireland, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's a real different route and a different kind of game, and like you can see that in them, that they don't have that media kind of like, they are media trained, but they haven't come up in a system. Like, they've a good bit of life experience, not that the guys don't, but they've different life experience maybe than a lot of the men's players. But some of the men's players come from different routes, and you'll see that, and they'll have a different journey. Or maybe, like, if you look like someone like Ty Byrne, who's kind of come from here, they gone to Wales, and they've all these different stories. And that's what I love, like when you get someone sitting behind the camera and they can just, or even if you're just there and the camera's off, I still take my notes. And
100%.
It's great to hear all these different perspectives, and just love it.
Yeah, it's nice actually. It's funny, I keep forgetting that people obviously get media training. Obviously, they are going to get media training, because you don't want to go out and say something ridiculous and then you're on the papers the next day. But it kind of reminded me that there was a couple of interviews there, even ones that you recorded yourself with the women, post match on the sidelines there, and they were so honest and so open, and they were kind of nearly, like euphoric in the sense that what they were saying sometimes didn't even make sense. But it kind of reminded me of Westmeath just won the Leinster this year. And some of them lads have never been in front of a microphone, never mind, having an actual interview. And they were saying outrageous things, but people actually liked it. People are like, it's a natural person. They're saying what they want to say in the moment. So 100% I would appreciate that going forward. And maybe less media training is the way to go. It might make the interview
like Mac Hansen, like, people love him because you just don't know. Like, he's just himself. And I think you could sit down and like media train him for a year, and he's still going to be that person. And that's actually one person that I should have put on my list. I actually haven't seen him down in front of a camera. I'd love to be in the room, because he's just, he's another person that leaves you with a smile. Like, he just seems like a great character.
Well, look, I'll do you a pact, Avril. If I ever get Johnny Sexton or Mac Hansen on the podcast, you can be a co-host for those episodes, because we can't let you down for that now with those two. And if Johnny and Mac Hansen are listening, well, you know what to do next. Reach out to the two of us. Look, Avril, thanks. This has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And I do want to give you some time just now, maybe get a little blurb up of, where can people find you online and how can they find your content?
I'm on YouTube as the Rugby Girl. I think it's like the Rugby Girl IRL, if the @ and then I'm on Instagram and TikTok as the Rugby Girl IRE, so like for Ireland IRE. So I think I have a Twitter as well out there, but I don't update it as much as I should. But definitely Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube are like the main places I post.
Cool, 100%. Again, I definitely abandoned the X account, whatever you call it, a long time ago. So, we won't talk about that. We don't have time to talk about that in this podcast. But yeah, no, as folks, if you're listening today, thanks so much for tuning in. Avril, you've been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us in this. And it was an absolute dream to have you on, and such a nice chat. And it was lovely to meet you. And you know, we'll obviously link up together with after this and publish all these. But the next episode out will obviously be Leinster versus Connacht, and it'll be the preview, hopefully around Friday, but or maybe Thursday. But we've tended to move all these team announcements so much later into the Fridays. It's getting very hard to get those preview episodes out. But again, Avril, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.